Hello everyone, welcome back to another recap or conclusion to the weekend. This weekend was the semifinals weekend of Mania 4K World Cup 2024. And of course, it is not a MWC weekend without a showcase, and we're getting a Mappool Showcase here. This is going to be finals, and this is going to be the top 6 teams facing off against each other. What a weekend, right? Like, this weekend was absolutely filled to the brim with the most amazing matches I've ever seen, and I'm just really excited to see what these teams are going to be facing off of next week, which is what we're going to show you now. I'm Mint, and I'm here joined by Sunapple. Hello, how's it going?
Hello. It's going really well, honestly. I've been excited to watch these matches this past weekend. Every single one has just been a blast to watch, and seeing the scores by all these players, even on such a difficult pool, is so crazy.
Absolutely, we really cranked it up for semifinals, but the teams are still just absolutely crushing these. We're hoping to change that this week. Let's not get a little ahead of ourselves. But yeah, I mean, is there anything more to say before we get into Rice 1?
Nothing much, but definitely good luck on this pool since it is quite a bit more difficult than the last one.
Yeah, this is a big step up, and we'll probably see it already in the very first pick. Let's take it away. This is Raison d'être by Miari Chesu. This is a cut version, and I believe this is 370 BPM streams. So we are getting speed streams as always for Rice 1. The BPM increase is not as much. We have, like, I think that's a 9 BPM increase from last round. That's not very much, but the patterning, I would say, is a little bit rough in comparison to Joker, and I think more sustained, I would say.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think there's only like 2 breaks in this map compared to Joker last week, which had a few more. Also, just like the length itself, I believe, even though it is similar to Joker, it definitely doesn't feel that way just because of how long these streams go on for. And right now we're kind of seeing more, I guess, like light streams, but as we get further in, we definitely see the density really ramp up, and it stays that way for a long time until I believe like 1 break section.
That's true, yeah. These streams do go on way longer than doesn't Joker, so yeah, Raison d'être is definitely something that people want to watch out for. This is our speed streams pick, and I don't think we saw Joker pick that much last round, but maybe we'll see. That it's a very small BPM increase here, so maybe it will be more accessible in comparison to the rest of the pool. And I will say the rest of the pool is really tough.
Yeah.
And this is obviously still tough, but maybe it will be more of a desirable pick for certain teams. But we'll have to see in that sense. I'm still not really sure.
Yeah, honestly, playing through this pool, I felt like this was probably one of the easier maps, especially considering the later part of this pool, which is just absolutely insane. So definitely some of the, I guess, more or less physically capable teams are definitely going to be wanting to pick this if they are really good at Rice or like really good at hacking Rice for whatever reason compared to their opponents. So if that's the case for your team, be sure to either like protect this or like keep this in mind as a pick.
For sure, and of course it's not very long, luckily, so these teams won't have very much to worry about. Even though the streams are quite sustained for a long time, it's not like too difficult at the end of the day. So yeah, that is Rice 1, and it does look like we're going to be getting into Rice 2, which is Zygerus Distribution by High 19. For those of you familiar with this chart, you know exactly what you're going to be getting in for.
Yeah, I mean, where was this season? I can't actually remember.
I don't think this has been used in a tournament, but this chart is pretty notorious for being really absurd.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely true. This map, just like looking through it constantly has been very, very difficult just because of the amount of kind of like trill patterns that are present. We already saw a longer one there, but they're kind of just like you have these streams and then you have to play a trill like immediately after it. And that can be really, really draining, especially on this map.
Yeah, for sure. And anyway, yeah, this chart is featured on Flash Revolution. It is like really, really difficult. I think it was released in 2020. We did make some changes to it, I believe. A lot of the more intrusive elements that are not really jump stream focused were edited to be a lot easier, as well as I believe some of the 280 BPM mini jacks are gone. So this chart is going to be easier than what people will be familiar with. However, there's still stuff to watch out for as you see, like that trill right there, and as well the really long like sort of stream sections. Like it's just really, really difficult.
Yeah, honestly, and that was the only break that you kind of see in this map, and even there, it's super, super difficult to be able to play. We see like the trills, we see like the really weird anchors as well, and then we go right back into like this jump stream, and it's just absolutely absurd for 2 minutes.
For sure. And yeah, I mean, it's really short too. It goes by really fast, but it is honestly, in my opinion, it's really stamina draining. Like even for how short it is. So that's might be something to watch out for. It is a huge, huge, huge step up from Uchoten Vivace from last round, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, let's just get into Rice 3 then, which is our stamina pick. Holy Orders by Valdict and Lemon Guy. Um, this one is 8 BPM slower, but it is quite stamina draining, like significantly more so than Zyger's Distribution. It also has a lot of very like intermission sort of patterns, like streams and 1/3s. So this map is definitely something you want to watch out for. It is 4 minutes long as well. We are kind of pushing into that 4 minutes territory, whereas last round had a 3-ish minute standard pick. This one has, I would say, a little bit more break sections than Black Chocolates does, but it's still really, really difficult in terms of stamina.
Yeah, I definitely do think this map, especially compared to the last one, is a lot more, I guess, jump stream focused. There aren't as many like trills that are all over the place. It's really about like anchors and being able to like hit the streams. And as well, something to note, we saw it a bit earlier with one of the breaks, but a lot of the breaks contain like 130 BPM core jack, I believe. It's somewhere around there, 135, I think. So definitely nothing to really scoff at, especially after having to play some of this jump stream at this speed.
For sure. I mean, it just keeps going. It's really, I think the main focus, honestly, is these trills in this chart. These trills just go on and on, these anchors as well, but mostly, I would say mostly the trills, because of the fact that it switches between one-handed and two-handed trills. It's just really something you have to watch out for constantly. And playing these jump streams, you really, you can't just autopilot through everything. You really have to pay attention to the patterns. And I mean, I would still like imagine a lot of really high accuracy plays on this, just because I think players like stamina is just like way more insane than like than we anticipated, honestly. But I think this chart we'll start to see some people like get a little tired, maybe like chain miss a couple times. I think that might start happening this round, but honestly, it's hard to say. Maybe we get this like really, really difficult pattern there.
Yeah, I feel like that pattern especially is going to be kind of brutal for a lot of players since you have been playing for about like 2 minutes there, and it is like not really at that big of a break, so definitely there a lot of people will be struggling, and especially after it just having to go from that to just even more of this kind of jump stream patterns for another like 2 minutes is just absolutely insane. I think you get like one little break at the end, but that's about it.
Yeah, this is just non-stop. You really do. Like, even when it's not jump stream, it's like some sort of like anchory jacks with polyrhythm or something like that. You just can't catch a break with this chart.
Yeah, and we're about at the quarter of the wave mark left, and we still haven't really seen a break. There's just been constantly no's happening. And I think, honestly, I think the density kind of ramps up at this point. I don't think it really slows down at all. Like, we're really just seeing these kind of trills, like, kind of just become more and more potent, especially in this section.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, these like mixed sort of streams and jump streams are just so difficult, and it just keeps going, and it gets even harder later. I think I'm not sure actually, but it's just incredibly like draining and everything.
Yeah, and that was the break that you get for this entire map, basically. The rest is just the regular jump stream for, it'll be like 30 seconds. It definitely is enough for you to kind of like last out if you aren't like kind of dying on stamina. So definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, gotta watch out for these quads at the end, and that's about it. And yeah, that was Rice 3. That was our stand-up pick. It was 4 minutes long. That's something to watch out for. So let's go into Rice 4, which is our core jack pick, Venus Invader by High Lotto 1.05. This song it is a BMS song. Um, Honestly, it is pretty straightforward chord jack. There's nothing really much to say here. There's a few bursts here and there. But yeah, it is 162 BPM, which is a significant increase from last round, which was 154. That's an 8 BPM increase. The anchors, I would say they're more four-note anchors and a lot more like tricky, sort of like one-handed motions that you have to do in this chart a lot. Um, it is also something to watch out for. A miss could cost you this point, so this is something you need to take into consideration.
Yeah, and also this map isn't too difficult, especially in the intro. Like the first half isn't too bad. Eventually we will be seeing like sort of questions, and I think they're here right now. But especially after that, it gets just more and more dense. So be sure to like keep your stamina out for this last second half where it just becomes so brutal.
Absolutely. I mean, we're already halfway into the chart, and there's just like we're getting this sort of short like break, and then we're getting straight into these very difficult projects. We're getting these like anchors, like four-note anchors. It's just completely brutal. And these like one-handed sort of motions too, constant in this chart. It really drains your sort of like consistency, in my opinion. Just something to watch out for.
Yeah, I will say at like 160 core jack, I feel like this is kind of the point where players aren't too comfortable on every single BPM of core jack. So definitely, I think this will be a much more scary pick, especially for like, I guess not really, kind of just to say like your worst player on core jack is definitely going to struggle a lot.
Absolutely. And yeah, that was our race for core jack pick. That was 162 BPM. Let's get into our miscellaneous rice picks, aka our tech picks. This is Fireball by Pizza69. This one is really interesting because essentially what it is you're met with a barrage of sort of like weird and awkward patterning, and then at the very last second, it takes it up a significant notch. So what's going on here? Like, this is a 1 minute and 32-second long pick, and it's just like, it's incredibly short. So it goes by just like that. A single miss could do enormous damage in a match situation. So you really want to watch out for, especially the ending, where it's really easy to chain miss. So this is definitely something that I would say it's a kind of a wild card pick. It's the kind of pick you'd want to throw out if you know you can FC this sort of stuff. But if you are banking on consistency on your rice, this might be a dangerous pick for you as a team.
Yeah, I definitely agree. What we have been seeing honestly isn't that bad compared to what we will be seeing at the end, and even then, like the section hasn't been too simple. There's been a lot of really awkward bursts to play that are honestly pretty long, but now we're actually getting into the real section of the map here.
Yeah, this is the real part of the map for sure. You see those like little like camel jacks embedded in the streams there, and then it just ends. It's over. It's over just like that. It's absolutely insane, this pick, and I think that a lot of teams will either find this sort of pick like really difficult to strategize around, or they will just pick it and hope for the best. It's a really short pick after all. Let's get right into Rice 5. This is Place in This World 1.1 Putt. And this was a map by Valedict. It was released pretty recently. And yeah, we're going to be using it on 1.1 as a cut. This is going to be our sort of dumpier missed rice pick. And I think we're already seeing those sorts of dumps kind of embedded within all these sorts of patterns. Like we're also getting a bunch of mini jacks and split trills. But yeah, this is going to be the rice 6 pick.
Yeah, and I will say, these mini jacks are really only present in this intro section. I feel like, especially after this, you really just focus on really just the dump stream itself. I think we're getting into this chorus right now, and you're already seeing it. There's such a significantly less amount of mini jacks, and it's really just focusing on how well you can hit these streams, just going from left and right constantly.
For sure. I mean, these streams are it's just really, really brutal in this chorus here. It just, those like one-handed trills embedded in those streams are just absolutely brutal, right? I mean, it's just really, really difficult.
Yeah, and we do have a break, so it is not too bad in terms of stamina, similarly to all the other kind of dump picks, except for, I guess, Idol in the last pool. But this one isn't very stamina draining, it's really just focused on how fast these patterns really come at you.
Yeah, and I mean, there's really not much to be said here. I mean, it repeats here, and this is the chorus coming again.
Yeah, and honestly, the streams itself isn't too difficult to, I guess, understand. It really is just being able to, like, hit them well. I think compared to every other pick, this is probably one of the most simplest, besides maybe, like, Rice 1. So if you are confident in, like, these more simpler patterns, definitely be sure to have this in your back pocket to be able to pick at any point in the match.
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting back into this sort of split trilly section. We're getting more of those split trills at the very, very end of the map, and we're getting more of these sort of dump streams. I mean, this part, honestly, those like embedded mini jacks are really, really tricky, so that's definitely something to watch out for. And yeah, that was our Rice 6 pick, and we're going to be moving straight to Rice 7. Uasa no Kaito Shoujo Plasma Prim Hyori Itai Kaito Incho no Nayami. This is a very, very interesting pick. It is very jack heavy, as I'm sure you've already noticed, but we're also going to be getting a lot of dumpy polyrhythms embedded within these patternings. It's really, really difficult to coordinate, especially with those 3-note jacks as well as the trill, one-handed trills. This one's really, it's just a very silly pick overall. I love it. It's really fun.
Yeah, this one is very silly, honestly. We do see a lot of jacks that we see. Definitely not as difficult as the Rice 3, the jack pick, just because there just aren't as many, or they aren't as long, I guess. So it's not really as, like, kind of stamina draining. But, like, right here, we are seeing mostly jacks, but later on we'll see a lot more streams, like, embedded into them, and that really causes a big problem.
Absolutely, that trill right there, that trill is absolutely brutal. We're getting a lot of those sort of one-handed trills within these, like, doing one-handed trills and jacks at the same time on different hands. That is what this map is all about. So this is something to, like, if you are not really strong with those kinds of patterns, those polyrhythmic patterns, this is the sort of pick that you might want to ban out, honestly.
Yeah, I definitely kind of agree. This is probably going to get either banned or just not played very often, just because of how awkward it is to be able to play accurately, consistently. Especially since I feel like a lot of teams will kind of be comfortable in these kind of patterns, just mostly being able to, like, not get really great accuracy, which is very important in this map, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it really is all about the accuracy here, and just, like, being able to accurately hit these polyrhythms is just, like, really difficult. But I'm sure we'll see these players absolutely just crush this. I mean, we saw how they played this weekend. Maybe this is a walk in the park to them. Maybe it's not. Who knows?
Yeah, there's definitely a chance. We've seen players just do well in basically everything, honestly.
For sure. And that concludes our rice picks. We had 7 rice picks and they're all shown now. So now let's get straight into the hybrids with hybrid 1. This is Like a Forsaken Flower by Jeezy Dongsheng. This was uprated and cut 1.05. This one, honestly, is really hard to play. We're already getting a really, really difficult rice section in the beginning. This is 274 BPM. Some of those jump streams were 274 BPM with 1/6 streams embedded in the middle, and now we're getting into a more long note heavy section, which is kind of like I mean, we kind of know what to expect from hybrid ones generally, but I would say this is a lot more anchory in comparison to the previous ones. And you can already see those anchors, like within this past quarter of the chart that we can see. We're getting to this chorus now, which is kind of like a half and half section. A lot of those anchors that split trill, but you're also getting a lot of very flowy long notes here. And yeah, that pretty much sums up the map. Honestly, you really know what to expect for the rest of it. But then we do get this like sort of like inverse chord jack sort of section, which is really, really difficult to coordinate in my opinion. But yeah, pretty much what you would be expecting from the second half of the pick as well.
Yeah, and honestly, this map really hits you like a truck. We saw in that intro, it definitely just starts immediately. And you don't get a break until now, but like, as soon as it's done, it starts once again with like another kind of stream pattern, and it's just so awkward to be able to like play at immediately, since you're really going from like not really playing at all to an immediate like 270 BPM stream is just insane.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we're getting straight into this sort of second half build up here. And I mean, you do get a pretty good amount of rest, in my opinion, in this middle of the chart. But the physicality of this chart really just brings it up to, like, it really just brings it up a notch. It's just really, really difficult to be able to maintain. I mean, we do get sort of like a repeat of the second half here, or sorry, a repeat of the first half here in the second half. But I mean, it's just really, really difficult. Luckily, you do get that sort of break in the middle. But is that going to be enough for like people to recover? Who knows? Ooh, yeah, that burst right there, that LN burst, was really, really difficult as well.
Yeah, and there isn't really anything too intrusive in this map, so I feel like if you can play the past hybrid ones, you're definitely going to be able to kind of play this as long as you can have the physicality.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And with Hybrid 1 out of the way, let's get straight into Hybrid 2. This is going to be Snail Shine Adventure by Lemon Guy. This map, if for those of you who know Voxel Adventure by Lemon Guy, which was featured in SOL 3, which was a tournament that happened last year, this is pretty similar. This is also pretty similar to Lemon Guy's Hybrid 2 from last year in Finals, which was Gene A-Mix. It is sort of like a shieldy, very heavy shieldy hybrid, 174 BPM. These shields are really rough, and we also get these sort of like embedded streams in there as well. But it is mostly shield oriented, I would say. We do get sort of a rice heavy section in the middle that's coming up soon. But for now, we're going to be looking at this sort of like very heavy like shield patterns. So it's really, really, really difficult.
Yeah, and I will say, like, the density itself is definitely difficult on top of it, so even after having to play the shields, you still have to play around, like, 180 BPM, like, stream LNs, which is nothing to really scoff at, especially having to transition just constantly between being able to hit the rice and then just, like, consistently hitting the LN. And we saw players even struggling last year on that hybrid one, but I don't know how well people are going to be wanting to play this year, honestly, just because of how kind of difficult it is to play consistently.
For sure, and we're seeing this rice section now, very heavy in the rice section. But yeah, I mean, this pick is definitely a lot more heavy than last year's Finals Hybrid 2. Absolutely is a huge step up from that, but honestly, I feel like it is warranted given the proficiency of the teams on stuff like this, especially considering Jackie picks are often like looked upon as being sort of like the more accessible of the hybrids generally.
Yeah, that is definitely true. And we kind of just continue to see more of the same thing over and over again here. I would definitely say that this is probably more 50-50 compared to the other hybrids, so definitely could be a reason why people may want to play this and maybe not wanting to choose something that is too, I guess, leaning towards one, I guess, factor, one like LN or hybrid.
For sure, yeah. I mean, this does honestly kind of get in between that sort of like whether it feels like an LN map or like a in some small sections feels more like a rice map, but it does feel in general more like a sort of like an LN shield map that also has a lot of rice components, which basically evens out in my opinion. But it really is more LN slash shield oriented in my opinion. So that is definitely something to watch out for. And we get this like sort of like long stream here. And yeah, I mean that pretty much closes out the map. We get these like streams here. We get these little sort of like mini jack section, and then we're about to close out the map.
Yeah, and I mean this map is just so difficult. I feel I'm not sure how well people are actually going to be able to play this. I definitely think compared to the other hybrids that have, I guess, come out, this is definitely quite a big a step up compared to, I guess, even like last map or last pool's hybrid 2. This one is just so difficult.
For sure. And as we switch over to the this screen here, just to get some technical difficulties sorted out really quick. Yeah, I mean the pool so far. How are you thinking? Like, what is it? What how is it so far? Actually,
Oh,
let's
I guess we
just
don't have to.
get right into Hybrid 3. One shot, one kill by Fola. Onumi Remix, of course. This is our technical hybrid. This is really rough, in my opinion. It's got a lot of those, like, really abrasive rice streams. Exactly what you would expect from a Fola map. I love this map a lot, so I hope you guys do as well. So let's just get right into it.
Yeah, it definitely is a step up from the last Hybrid 3. We did see very flammy LNs in the last Hybrid 3, and definitely seeing another one right here. Consistent basically throughout the entire tournament. And this one is definitely a bit different from the last one. I feel like this one's really focusing on kind of like focused on one hand, really.
Yeah, honestly, it does feel very different from not limited. I'm sorry, Gaviscon. This feels very different from Gaviscon in the sense that you're kind of getting either one or the other. You're not really getting a mix of both in any sort of situation. Like this map, honestly, it focuses very heavily on like um, very technical sort of streams. Like right there, that is the majority of the difficulty of the map, in my opinion. Like these sorts of like interruptions of the LNs. The LN are honestly not too bad. So I guess the note count, the object count here is going to be quite misleading because there are a lot of LNs in the map, but this does honestly, to me, feel more like a rice-oriented hybrid, like the stream-oriented hybrid specifically.
Yeah, I definitely agree. A lot of the streams in this map are just so brutal to be able to play like consistently, especially even just transitioning between like the LNs. The streams just are so difficult, and we're already seeing one that is just going on for so long.
Yeah, I mean these extended streams just go on, and it's really all about being able to on demand play one type of like style over the other, and because it just keeps switching constantly, so you really don't really know what to expect unless you can like predict somehow like what's going to happen, and that's really difficult for a map like this.
Yeah, and this map is decently long, so you do have quite a bit of room to be able to take a miss or two, though I'm not sure whether people are actually going to be able to consistently FC this, even if like they do have a really good run.
Yeah, for sure. This is really difficult to even come close to FCing because of the fact that all of these like sort of one-handed patterns that kind of occur are just so brutal, and it's really easy to mess those up. But in my opinion, it is a bit easier like physically than the rest of the hybrids. So maybe that is something to keep in mind as you're strategizing those picks. And yeah, that was our hybrid 3. Of course, that is our last hybrid, which means we're now done with hybrids. We're getting into LN1, which is our coordination pick. This is Nanahoshi Kangen Gakudan featuring Hatsune Miku, Build and Scrap by Heart Lottery.
Yeah, and I feel like this is very, very different from the last coordination pick. This is a lot more focused on kind of like uh, Jackie LNs, I would say. Kind of similar to very like timing hells in the past. And that is definitely kind of what it feels like.
For sure, and I absolutely agree with the reference to Timing Hell here because this is absolutely, you can tell just by playing it that this is very heavily inspired, if not directly inspired, by Juan Crystal's Timing Hell maps. And I mean, you can really just feel it in the song choice, in the sort of pattern style, everything, it just feels like one of those. This feels like a throwback to 2019 when we had maps like that. And I mean, you can really just. This map is quite long, 3 minutes 22 seconds. So you have to sustain that like level of full focus and coordination for those really, really tight releases and such. For that long, and it's really, really demanding. It is honestly harder than something like number 39. But yeah, it's just a really tiring pick overall. But it is really, really fun, so I hope you guys enjoyed this.
Yeah, it definitely is super tiring, as you were saying. A lot of these, I guess, like kind of LN, not anchors, LN like shields cause a huge difficulty for players, I would say. A lot of places where you can kind of get a lot of 200s as a result.
For sure, you can definitely, there's so many spots where you can just easily drop 200s. Getting a low 200 count is what you need to prioritize as a player here when you're playing against like certain teams. It's just really, really like difficult to be able to minimize that 200 count, and not to mention your ratio as well. Having to focus so heavily on being able to accurately hit these patterns, you can easily slip up and find a miss or two, and that's not something you want to do on a map like this. Even though it is so long, like you can afford a miss or two if the other team misses as well. But it's just really, you really need to strategize so particularly and meticulously around this sort of pick.
Yeah, I will say, I feel like a lot of people have gotten really accustomed to these timing hell patterns, though I don't think a lot of people have been accustomed to acting them very well. So definitely being able to have, like, as you were saying, reducing your 200 counts is going to be super good to do, especially in these sections where there's like these trills that are just so awkward to play.
For sure, and we're also seeing a lot of really rough anchors coming in as well. And I mean, this whole map is littered with it. We're already reaching 6,000 combo. That tells you exactly how long this map is. It is just relentless, and it is constant.
Yeah, and I don't think we've really seen a break in this map, so definitely, as you are saying, it is constant. It's like no even not even a chance to think about what you're doing. You really just have to look forward, constantly being sure that you're on time.
Absolutely, and that was our coordination pick. That really did feel like another timing hell, but it will be our LN1 coordination. We're getting straight into LN2 density. Here we go. Pumpanella by Chrysler. This one is really, really fun. This is an OZ original, of course. MWC 7K 2024. This was that's when it debuted, and that's what the tournament was used for. This is going to be full LNs here. We're just gonna get straight into it. All these like anchors. Ooh, it's just really, really rough already. This is 227 BPM. Of course, it is extremely fast. I mean, last year's grand finals was 234. So we're honestly not like we're gonna shoot past that in grand finals, obviously. But this is getting really close to what grand finals was last year. So if that just goes to show how difficult this LN pool is this year.
Yeah, and I will say, especially compared to Dreaming Attraction from the last pool, this map is a significant step up in terms of like density. In Compared to Dreaming Attraction, I feel like this map's the LNs in them are a lot longer, and that can cause a lot of trouble for being able to coordinate it just consistently, especially in such a map like a density map where it's, I guess, easier to be able to FC. It's really important to be able to minimize those 200s, and having those longer LNs causes a huge difficulty.
Absolutely, and we can see that we do kind of have a return to form here, like sort of like straightforward, like hand stream, like sort of inverse kind of as compared to last round. But we do get a few bursts, and we do get a few like inverse chord jack moments every so often. So this does have like various things to offer instead of just having like a very straightforward like approach. But we do still get like it is a lot more comfortable, I would say, like if you are used to playing LN density patterns compared to last round. Then we get that really long burst there, just some interrupted by a little few bursts, like 1/8 bursts here. This just really throws everything at you. So it's really, I mean, this pick is quite something.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it is quite short. I feel like only 2 minutes and 16 seconds, so definitely a lot of places to mess up on, and if you do mess up, it'll be very brutal. And it is OD 7.5, so being able to time this is going to be so difficult.
Absolutely, and that is it for Campanella, which is our LN2 pick, our LN density pick. And it looks like we're going to get straight into LN3, which is Entropic Enhancement, mapped by yours truly. This is essentially a sequel to Fatal Entanglement from last year, but it is extraordinarily hard in comparison, in my opinion. Honestly, it's just, these patterns are really rough overall. It's 254 BPM, and we're getting like higher than 1/4 snaps? Like a barrage of 1/6 patterns. It's just absolutely insane to think about, like that this is the level that we're at right now.
Yeah, and I will say, like, you do see a lot of, I guess, LN shields in this map as well, and that causes a huge difficulty in terms of being able to FC it. Because, like, even on its own, this map without those, it's just so difficult to FC just because of the speed of everything that comes at you. And adding those on top of it makes it so much more difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this map is just absolutely brutal. It might even be a little bit on the hard side. But to be honest, like, it is very straightforward. I feel like if you have that physicality to be able to play these kinds of patterns, it's not that bad, to be honest. Like, at least in comparison to, like, LN1 or LN4, like, this is, like, sort of like the, like, if it's, like, if the density pick is not really the physicality pick, then this is the physicality pick, if that makes sense. Of course, like, all the LNs are very physical because it's finals. We're in the second to last week, like, but this is still it's just very like physical, like barrage. You can see this sort of like 254, like not really inverse, but like light LN jump stream. We're getting like dense LN jump stream here. It's brutal.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's just so much to take in at once, and I don't know how often this is going to be picked. I feel like this is going to be something that a lot of teams may ban just because of how difficult it is.
I mean, I feel like the teams that really scale well into grand finals will pick this sort of map. But then, in that case, the teams that don't really scale well into the late game will probably ban this. They might opt to ban this, but I mean, only time will tell, really. This map is just going to be really difficult to figure out like where teams are going to strategize around. But yeah, with that being said, let's get into LN4. It's going to be Distorted Fate Elysian 1.05 rate by Chrysaline, another Chrysaline map. And this is going to be very different from our LN2. This is an edit of an already uploaded map. I believe this was used in a Malaysian tournament a couple of years ago, or perhaps last year.
Yeah, I believe so as well, and I feel like this map is quite difficult to be able to play, especially a lot of the patternings in this is very awkward, I guess, and you have that kind of awkward patterning just constantly kind of going in and out for I guess like the first 3 quarters or something, and then that last quarter is just a different beast, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's it's so hard to categorize this map. There's so many different patterns, like different types of patterns. We're getting these shield sort of patterns. We're getting these like slight dumps, and it's just a very all-rounded map in general. And honestly, I feel like you can't prepare for this map like just by preparing for one skill set. This is everything. This map tests everything that a map pool potentially has to offer. It's like honestly like a mini LN tiebreaker in a way.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. This is definitely a good pick if you're comfortable on every kind of patterning of LNs, though I don't know many teams that'll be able to do that. And I mean, we will be seeing, I guess, more density sections coming up right now, so maybe some people will feel more comfortable on that, but even after that, there's just a different kind of pattern, and just that's just, oh, it's just so difficult to be able to play consistently, especially.
Absolutely. I mean, these staggered releases and these like jacky, streamy sections, it's just you really can't like accurately like handle a lot of these like in my opinion because it's just a barrage of these sorts of patterns is really really difficult. I mean, our replayer here is handling it just fine, but again, like it is just absolutely brutal. Like some of these shields like are really really tight and difficult, and it's just so you really can't like predict where the song goes either. So it's not as straightforward as like LN2 or LN3.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and we are getting up to this ending, so you do get, I guess, an easier section to end off on, but does that really mean anything when the first entire map was just so difficult?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you really can't catch a break for a lot of this map. So, I mean, yeah, there's not really much else to say. But aside from, okay, so now we're done with all of our LN picks, which means only one thing. It's SV time.
Yay, we love SV. Oh,
I mean, this one is absurd. So let's talk about this for a little bit. This is mapped by Hyper, but we are seeing a lot of the patterns and SBs from Pacharaj as well. Pacharaj worked a lot on this map as well, alongside Seal, which we can see here. So this is a three-way sort of collab. Um, it's really really interesting. We're getting these sorts of like teleports and jumps and these zero BPM gimmicks. This chart is just really relentless in that regard.
yeah, this first half is pretty memorization heavy, so be sure to check the editor for this especially. It's very important to be able to make
For
sure that you're
sure.
hitting on time.
Yeah, and those LN releases, some of them will also be kind of misleading. Like that one right there, like you probably just have to like tap and release, but it looks like a really long note. So if you are sight reading this, you might be like, oh, it's a long note. I need to hold. But no, you don't. It's really, really difficult to be able to get these sorts of patterns down. And yeah, we're getting this sort of like bumpy section. This is definitely something to watch out for, especially because it just does not play like how it looks. So you really, really need to practice being able to read these sorts of things and train yourself to be able to hit the notes properly, those chords, when they don't look like chords at all.
Yeah, I believe those are all 1 millisecond staggers, so I think you can kind of just play them as like triples pretty easily and won't have to worry too much, which is nice to know.
For sure. And we're getting this really, really slow jam. And I think it builds into, yeah, that's our ending. So this is a relatively short pick. Luckily, it is only 2 minutes as SV1. So SV players, you don't have to have a lot of time to learn this. So get learning, get practicing. Speaking of practicing, we have a little special surprise for all of you. Take it away. Yeah, and that was Acrasia by Cydosis. This was our second SV or also original this year. And I mean, okay, so just a little bit of backstory, I guess. Both of the SV artists this year requested specifically to make a song for SVs, which is why we were very willing and gracious to let them do such. I mean, both of these artists come from Osimania. They're both SV players, so it only makes sense for Cydosis to have this SV original here. So, and yeah, I mean, what is there to say about this map? I mean, it's very, very like honestly, it's very interesting for a SV map in MWC. It's very unique in the sort of sense that the song honestly is not as dynamic as you might expect. A lot of the rhythms are very straightforward. Um, the tricky part about this map is really all about the reading and just making sure you have that rhythm down. Yeah, and sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. It definitely seems not too difficult to be able to, I guess, play. So make sure you kind of like learn the song, definitely.
Yeah, the song is definitely like a very important thing to pay attention to here, especially with all the rhythms and stuff. And yeah, with that being said, let's just get straight into the tiebreaker.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so we'll be having Roquira between life and death. This is a collab between me, Fola, and Darkstar. I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, and I believe this map is around 7 stars, so be sure to, I guess, keep that in mind. It's not too huge of a deal, but I think it is, like, doesn't really show its difficulty in its fullest, honestly. This map is so difficult.
Yeah, this map is really, really difficult, honestly. Like, there's just, I mean, Fola and Darkstar have been sort of a staple in the past couple years of MWC mapping. So we kind of know what to expect with their patterning. We're getting straight into a Fola section right here. I mean, you're already seeing this sort of like staggered, very like rolly sort of LN patterns. This is really, really rough.
Yeah, it definitely is, and we just really see that for quite a while. We see a lot of full patterns later on in the map as well, and they really just don't stop. We come back right to like its more normal patterns with the Earth. I think you can definitely say more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting straight into like a sort of shieldy LN section here. It is very straightforward. Everything snaps to the 1/4, but it is still really, really difficult to coordinate just because of like this like one-handed sort of motions you kind of get here. We're getting straight into a Darkstar section. This is a very like dumpy, very flowy, techy sort of section. Kind of what kind of what we've been seeing from Darkstar, generally speaking. This is the sort of thing that like we're getting like full rice section here essentially.
Yeah, and we do see that quite a few times in this map. A lot of Darkstar sections are just basically all rice. I think, actually, I'm pretty sure all of them are, and they're all super dumpy, difficult to be able to play consistently. A lot of mini jacks just embedded all over the place, whatever it is their section. So it is very easy to spot whenever you do get into one.
Absolutely. I mean, this Darkstar section right here actually carries on for quite a while, and essentially it is just pure rice for such a long time, and you really just it gets really exhausting after after around this part. We're approaching the end of it just about in a bit, but yeah.
Yeah, and definitely if you are kind of missing out on your LNs, I wouldn't worry too much. You'll definitely see a lot more in this later half.
For
The
sure.
rice itself is very difficult, but so is the LN as we get into, I think, a more LN focus, like a more hybrid, I guess, pattern.
Yeah, we're gonna get into a follow section in just a bit. Right here, this pattern right here, it repeats 4 times. It's really, really rough, and it happens 4 times in this section. So that's something to watch out for.
Yeah, and it's just so difficult. There's like little LNs that are just embedded everywhere, and that can definitely screw you up going from like the little LNs to just going to a slightly longer, so it can mess you up on getting your 200 count well, even though I don't really think 200 count will matter too much, just because you will be missing so much.
For sure, and I mean, we're we're just about approaching the end of this section here. We're getting this little long jack on the last column, so we're getting into a really long break section. And so, we would like to take the time to thank our design department again for both SV2 and the tiebreaker. As this break section is panning out, let's take a quick moment to thank Zeth for the graphic design for Acrasia, as well as video design coordinator Sakura06, as well as the mapper, the Funk, and replay Yapayugan. And for this map as well, Sakura06 with the background and as well as the storyboard, I believe. Okay, I'd have to double check that. I'm so sorry. But yeah, we're getting right into the LN drop here. This part is really difficult. It's a lot of like flowy, but also jacky sort of motions here. This part is really difficult.
Yeah, and I mean, we do see, I guess, a step up in difficulty in this last quarter. I feel we've been really seeing not too difficult LNs, but definitely right here, the density ramps up just so much. And there's just so many places where you can take just a random miss or random 200, and that can definitely just screw over your whole run. And keep in mind, this is finals, and most likely when you're going to be playing, this is going to be super high stakes. So be sure to not get too tired.
Yeah, this is just really rough as a map, honestly. Like, the pattern, there's nothing, like, non-technical about any of these patterns. We're getting into a full section here. Everything about this map is just relentless.
Yeah, and we do have a slight break just before the end of the little trill. Nothing too bad, just leading up to this last section of the map where everything really just comes at you at once. Just the most difficulty is in this last section, I feel.
For sure. I mean, this part, we're getting into like this mini Jackie section, and then straight into, I think, the last Fola section. We get these like really weird flams and trills. It's just everything is thrown at you here in this ending part.
Yeah, I think especially those trills are just somewhere where a lot of people can choke on just because of the speed itself. And now we're getting right back into Rice with the Dark Star section. We're just seeing another step up from the earlier one that we saw a while ago. And it's just so many places for you to just tire yourself out, because keep in mind you have been playing for basically the whole map at this point.
For sure. I mean, this map is just absolutely brutal the whole way through. And I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing some teams potentially play on this. I mean, you never know. But yeah, that concludes our 4K MWC Finals Mappool Showcase. Is there anything left for us to say?
I don't really think so. I guess congratulations to all the teams that have made it. This has definitely been a historic MWC, I feel. There is still quite a few matches to go, so we'll see how it pans out. But I guess the last thing that I could say is that I believe... Can people still buy banners, or is that done?
I think, yeah, people can still buy banners for sure.
So yeah, be sure to buy your banners while you still can. I think it should be ending soon. So be sure to rock whatever team that you want, or any past teams that you have seen that are eliminated right now.
Definitely, and it's definitely something to look out for this weekend. And we're just gonna say our goodbyes for this weekend. But as we say our goodbyes, new beginnings are forming, and we are going to be going into this finals weekend next weekend with a fresh start in mind. We have this new map pool, and oh goodness, it would be a joy to watch. I'm so excited.
Yep, but I think with that, I'm fine to say goodbye.
All right, everyone. Bye.
Bye!